It feels like it's 2005 and 6 again. Agents are being told to start blogging because AI search is changing how people find information. But here's the problem. Most of those blogs won't bring them a single client. Not because blogging doesn't work. We know we've been doing it all summer and it works amazing. It's because they're writing about the wrong thing. So before you ask ChatGPT to write your next article, I'm going to show you the 5 real estate blog categories that can attract actual buyers, sellers, and people preparing to move. And I'll tell you which one I would start with first. I'm Tristan Almada. This is Your Daily Real Estate. It's a podcast and a show built to help you grow a better real estate business. If you want practical ideas that actually work that you can use, well, subscribe and share this with somebody you think may need this. Let's jump right into this. No list wins in every city. Just remember that. But these 5 work together because they follow the path a real client takes, from researching an area to being ready to hire someone. The first category is neighborhood guides. This is your, I would call it, traffic engine, because people often search for where they want to live before they search for the agent who will help them move there. Avoid a generic article called "The Best Neighborhoods in Thousand Oaks." It sounds like everyone else, and the words like best can create a fair housing problem if you start describing who should live there. So be careful with that. Stick to useful facts and experience. A stronger article answers a real question. Is Casa Conejo part of Thousand Oaks? What does its incorporated status mean? What types of homes are there? Where are the park trails, or just parks in general, stores and coffee shops? What should a buyer know about taxes, insurance, and HOA? National websites usually can't explain those details well. It takes somebody like you who will actually be there on the ground. Now, you add your own photos, a short video, and what you've learned by spending time there. Man, that turns a basic article into local authority, and that's what we really want to do there. The second category is market reports. Now, you've heard, you've seen them, you've built them, but take a step back. This is where most agents lose people because they dump 10 numbers onto a page and call it an update, or they ask ChatGPT to populate this graphic, and then it looks so AI, and then they dump it in there. Nobody needs another chart with no explanation or one that looks like AI. A useful market report tells people what changed and why and what they should do about it. Pick a few numbers that matter, at least that matter to you in your area, like inventory, days on market, and price reductions, and explain what do they mean for buyers and sellers. See, if homes are taking longer, talk about why. Do buyers have more room to negotiate? Are sellers offering credits? The number gets attention, but your explanation, that's the key to building trust, and especially if we're showing up consistently. Use current local data, the name of the source. I always like to throw in where I got the information from, and the date and the page if you can. Publish each month, each week, whatever it's going to be. Just make sure that you stay consistent, and people will see you didn't become a market expert last Tuesday. They're going to look back and say, man, so and so really does a good job showing up weekly about this report. Maybe it's a YouTube video, right? But you've been paying attention for years, and I think the challenge is just taking that deep dive into actually explaining and giving your opinion. We sometimes shy away from it because we think, why do people care about what we have to say? Well, they do. That's what makes you you. You're going to have to show up and give me your interpretation of your market and the numbers there. I need to hear it from you. The third category is relocation guides. This is your move-in funnel. You can call it whatever you want. That's what I call it. People often research months before they call an agent. In some cases, research years. Help them early and you can earn trust before they arrive. Make the topic specific though. Moving from Los Angeles to Conejo Valley, what it costs to move to Newbury Park, what to know before relocating to Ventura County. Compare housing costs, commute choices, weather, insurance, and everyday life. Answer the small questions too. I think that becomes probably the most important thing, right? In the FAQ, in the headline of each paragraph, which airport is the easiest? How long does it take to reach the freeway in the morning? Which services come from the city and which come from the county. Those are details I won't know if I don't live there, work there, or have been there for a while. Here's what most agents miss too. Traffic by itself is not the goal. So just same with views on your social media, right? You could get thousands of views, thousands of readers, but who's to say they're actually going to need you? That's a big question. The next category usually gets fewer readers, but they may be much closer to making a decision. The category is transaction guides. These are your conversation closers because they answer questions people ask when the move becomes real. What happens after an offer is accepted? Should I sell before I buy? What are my options? What if the appraisal is low? What's an appraisal? What what will it cost to sell? Does it cost anything to buy? Now, you start with the answer. Don't make people read 6 paragraphs before you tell them what they came for. Then explain the choices, risks, and next steps in simple language. When I'm writing this out, I try to remind myself that I need to make it into fifth grade writing, just because in my head I'm trying to simplify it for the reader. And this content lets someone experience what it may be like working with you as well. Is it easy to understand? Is this person explaining something to me so I can fully comprehend it, or is it just too technical? Now, if you make it confusing, think about it. Who's going to want to continue to read, right? They may trust you, but do they want to actually work with you if they feel intimidated? Think about that. And the fifth category is home insights or home highlights. This isn't just posting a listing with the same description that appears everywhere, right? Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com. A real home highlight teaches people something through a property, maybe a floor plan, renovation, or design choice. So explain why certain single-story homes are hard to find in Newbury Park. And I'm picking Newbury Park because I grew up in Newbury Park and Thousand Oaks. So of course I'm going to use those cities. Show a before and after staging example. Or like in California, break down an ADU or explain why one floor plan feels larger than another, even though they're almost identical. This works well with original photos and videos. So if it's your listing, do it. But Google's guidance for regular and AI-powered search says unique, useful content matters, including strong images, video, and local information. When you combine those, that's when AI starts finding and pulling your information and using it. One home highlight can become a blog, short video, carousel, email, and social post, and a lot more. So how do you turn these categories into a plan without becoming a full-time writer? That's the number one question. Tristan, I also have to show property, do listing appointments, prospect, respond to emails, go to my family and be with them, right? It's a lot, but I'd start with transaction guides. You already know questions because clients ask them every week or every month. And the people searching for those answers are usually closer to making a move, right? They're making the idea of purchasing or selling concrete. And they're like, okay, we're getting closer. This makes sense. We wanted to sell in the winter or the fall. Let's get all the research done right now. Now create one neighborhood guide and one market report each month. That's how I would roll and do it for different areas. Build one relocation guide each quarter, answer a transaction question every 2 weeks, add home highlights when you have a strong visual story, right? And if you don't, and see maybe your brokerage has one, and ask if you can expand on that one. That would definitely help, right? But every article should answer one real question. Now give the answer early, don't forget. Add local details, which makes it really great for AI to pull for. Support facts with trusted sources or a trusted source, and offer one useful next step. Here's what you do next. So here's what you do now. And yes, use AI to help you research, organize, and clean up the writing. I do it, but don't use it to mass produce empty feeling articles or articles that just lack your tonality, voice, or local knowledge. Google says AI assisted content still needs to be helpful and original, and mass publishing pages with no added value can violate its spam rules. Don't forget that. So my test is simple. If AI can write the whole article without your experience, it doesn't have enough of it to be taken seriously by AI. So you've got to add you. The big takeaway is that these aren't 5 random blog categories. They're a content funnel. Neighborhood guide attracts attention, market reports builds authority, relocation guides create an early relationship, transaction guides turn confusion into trust, and remember, lowest hanging fruit there. Home highlights make your knowledge visual and shareable. Don't start by trying to write all 5 of these this weekend or during the week. Start with the question that the client asked the most, or the one that's in front of you because they just asked it this week. Answer it clearly, make it local, and then publish it. Then do it again. If this helped you think differently about your content, please subscribe to Your Daily Real Estate. I'm Tristan, and I'll see you on the next one.